You feel like something new. You feel like something. You feel like something new. You feel like something. Don't just stop it. Doing what you do. When I lay back, holding on to you. Ooh, ooh, feel like something new. Yeah. Got my senses here on overload. All my body is for you to hold. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We're not the only ones. 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 Days gone, I won't waste another one. Oh, that darkness, it won't set me back again. Oh, I'm not asleep or awake. I won't let the future escape. Take me back to you. Just shake the ground. Oh, this lightness, it will fill the air around. Oh, I'm not asleep or awake. I won't let the future escape. Back to you.
I'm bulletproof, don't ever lose.
earthquake, make your bones shake. There's no question I'm the king, I always dominate. A force to be reckoned with, better remember it. Look at what I can do, walking all over you. Incredible, it's criminal, I never lose, I'm bulletproof. Best in the game, we all know my name. Can't run now, it's too late. Got winning in my blood, in my DNA. It's destiny, it's fate. Unbreakable, unbeatable, undefeatable, I'm invincible. Unbreakable, unbeatable, undefeatable, I'm invincible. I'm bulletproof, don't ever lose. Put the evil in the devil, let him let it loose. I'm an earthquake, make your bones shake. There's no question I'm the king, I always dominate. A force to be reckoned with, better remember it. Look at what I can do, walking all over you. Incredible, it's criminal, I never lose, I'm bulletproof.
contemplate. Climb out the sheets, find the jeans from a previous day. Grab the keys from off the counter, commute into the city, gonna take another hour. Man, I hate trading time for a way. At least I got a home and a job that pays. action and find that I left my distractions behind. In the meantime, I'll blindfold my pride and keep hold of my time like it's gold. Fading from color, reaching to find when I wonder how. Saying it'll all be fine. Wanna sit around and waste the time. Fading from color, stuck in the backseat and told to drive.
I pack my suitcase, headed out the door. I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home. A couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road.
Miles past, turning back, found my track, face the fact she a cold one. Never gonna settle for none. Stay up every night till I won. Don't want a slow rise now. I'm confident opulence isn't a long ride out. When I look back now, I'm astounded. A quiet boy from old age, but always felt the world was a stage, yeah. I celebrate one last late night. My old life ain't staying.
I pack my suitcase, headed out the door. I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home. A couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road.
I'm headed to LA.
Couple thousand miles, throw it on the dash. Shit, 10,000 hours, can't let them pass. Yeah, well, I was putting time in, you was pulled up wildin'. You always had shit to say, now when I see you, it's silence. Thought I'd have a Grammy by 25. Commas after commas next to dollar sign, yeah. Had to remind myself why I'm living this life. Look at all the late nights, it'll all come in due time, yeah.
Made for the fight, for the pain and the climb. Tied to the life I chose. Stay through the night, another day, not a dime. Race against time. I couldn't just lay by and wonder what I could have made mine. I'm closing on the moment, no one's gonna hold me down.
I pack my suitcase, headed out the door. I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home. A couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road. If you wanna be my love, baby, gotta take it slow. If you wanna be my love, I'll show you what you wanna know. If you wanna be my love, baby, gotta take it slow. If you wanna be my love, I'll show you what you wanna know.
They told me go to what you love. I never knew what that was, but even when I make time, I think of all I've given up. I wish it wouldn't be so hard, 'cause you're the one that gets slighted. You say I don't make time for anyone, and you ask my mind is occupied. It's hard to vent, I understand. Have you ever loved someone but know that there was more? I don't wanna be tied, hanging by your side. I don't wanna be tied, tethered to my pride. Hate to waste your time. Go and live your life. It's something that I've felt for some time. But as I walk around and tightrope safety nets are overrated. Yeah, if you make one, you will fall. Too much of a temptation. Yeah, there's a comfort in the crawl. Now I've been on my feet too long. I know I'm strong, just looking for some solid ground. So
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the ESL Challenger League. Season 49 here, of course. We are straight into things for Europe. The first day, the first match day for all regions, in fact. And yeah, very much looking forward to continuing on a double shifter for myself. Maybe you were here a little bit earlier. I'm, of course, Scrib, and I'm going to be joined for this one by Neo Kai. And we are, I think, very happy to be back on the mic. It's been a few months, mate.
I know. That's a, the lovely thing in a weird way, but also kind of the annoying thing about the Christmas break. I mean, all those commentators are the same. I think it's probably similar with players. You're like, oh, okay, thankfully, I get a bit of a break. I can rest now, and I can chill out and enjoy my Christmas holiday. And then, a week goes by, and you're like, oh, I'm itching to get back on the cast, actually. So we're back. We're obviously kind of staples within the ECL sort of circuit, I guess. More, but at times can be a bit of a circus, some of the games that we have. And it should be good, right? We are really looking forward to a good season here. Of course, what we're all looking towards is that of Pro League. We take a look at the format, sort of break down how this all runs. And within ECL, it can be a little confusing, but don't worry. That's where we come in to sort of break it all down for you. Of course, we've got 2 group stages. Then we've got a high. We've got a group mid as well. After that, in towards the playoffs. It looks on paper quite confusing, but I'll break it down nice and easy. Win all your games, you win. Lose, you don't. It's simple as that. There's one Pro League spot, so you got to win them all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is the simplicity of it. I think it's just trying to stretch the form out and the games out as much as possible, to just give these players a lot to do at the end of the day, which is obviously what this kind of feeder league is all about. And then they get into Pro League, and Pro League's also pretty intense for a little while there. This is one of the big things, though, to consider: the European prize pool. What with there being a few more teams in, and the way that the ecosystem is over in Europe, it is quite substantial. I think 100k, for an online league format, 1 or 2 games a week that you've got to be playing for a few weeks is pretty good, to be honest with you. And it does go all the way down as well, to those lower places where these maybe are a handful of teams that might not be fully salaried or might be on like a minimal kind of salary and whatnot. So this money obviously goes a very, very long way for these guys. And of course, the VRS as well takes this into account.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take a look at the schedule, of course, for today. We've got 2 streams running simultaneously. We're going to be doing PARIVISION taking on Sinners. This one is interesting, and we'll break down when we kind of break down the teams of why this game is interesting, but I'm sure those of you who know. And on the other stream, we've got Monty taking on 9 Pandas, which is also a pretty spicy game as well. So 2, I would say, kind of games simultaneously that are full of kind of big hitters. All of these teams are actually always expected to go at least relatively deep within ECL, right? So this actually, for me, is a good day to kind of kick off ECL. We've got some good games to be kind of watched here, and I think I'm right in saying there is some other games happening potentially at the same time as well, so you can maybe find them somewhere. We've got our Kadia player to watch, of course, for this one, and this is, of course, our reason as to why we want to watch this game. It is Jame time, baby, but Jame in maybe a new lease of life, mate. This is Jame, no longer calling, just AWPing, so maybe that brutal slow style of play, maybe no longer.
Well, we are about to find out. Obviously, he's going to be playing alongside Kicker, who is a previous teammate of him. So it is going to be a bit interesting here if James can kind of, keep his lips sealed when it comes to the calls, when it comes to the mid-rounding or whatnot. Is James actually, going to play into that a little bit? Will he be vocal here? Is he just going to fully focus on AWPing? And indeed, is it going to be a new lease on life where he just goes crazy? We might see this guy getting a bit aggressive, you remember the Rio Major, that 1v3 on Overpass springs to mind, that the one time he went in for a clutch attempt and he came away with it, right? And it was a pretty big deal. So maybe we see a bit more of that, especially now as he's moving kind of down a little bit into the tier 2, of course. We do have the veto to go over Ancient, Inferno, Mirage. Nothing too out of the ordinary here, right? The PARIVISION side of things, we don't quite know what to expect out of them at this point. They're still quite young as a roster. Meanwhile, Sinners, not really played the train, generally tend to ban away the Anubis. Maybe now they've got to start playing it. So as well, it's very easy to predict where this veto is going to go on the Sinners side of things at the very least.
I got to say, though, for Sinners, picking Inferno, that is, it's tempting the beasts. James, you want to bring it back out of you. I know that calling wants to come back through. Save the AWP will be whispering in the back of his mind on that one. But Inferno's always been a really good map for Sinners. I'm looking forward to this team as well, because this is, now a Sinners without Oscar. And if we're being quite blunt, for a long time, Sinners and the big conversation around Sinners was always about Oscar. He's always been this incredibly talented AWPer, and I think even, you know, arguably can be said as a bit of a what-if player. I think he's one of those guys who, you know, if you maybe have a little bit more of a stint at the top level internationally, he could have been a top-level AWPer, and we do see those flashes out for him. So the fact that we don't see him here, obviously he's now moved to that new team with Stiko, is it in Circle? Something like that? Something along those lines. You know how it is. But regardless, we are getting this show on the road. I'm looking forward to seeing what Sinners look like with the new boy at Peepo. I've heard some good things about him as well. So let's see how this one plays out. We have a bit of a kind of a cosmetic knife round. This is just, of course, they can secure who is going to be picking on one side. But as it is the map pick of that of PARIVISION, Sinners get the pick. And I'm assuming it's just going to be a CT side start.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense, right? And no one really theory crafting on Ancient in that way very much at the moment. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty big game, I think. You know, you look at where this season is at. Obviously, we get very, very quickly into the game. So these types of things we'll probably talk over during the game itself. But yeah, when it comes to their group, I think they actually have one of the harder groups at the moment. There's a lot of teams coming into this season as well. And, you know, you have all these mid groups and high groups and whatnot. So you have to start off well. And I think Sinners have made a couple of moves in the roster mania, but one's an academy player. The other is Zedko, who's already been in the team. So I don't think that they will have as much turmoil as a team like, you know, PARIVISION, where you've got some younger players coming in. You've got James like moving down. It's a very different format down here. We'll open up for B-Stick. Clean find as this execute comes around, but they're now a man down. It's not looking too great. B-Stick in with another Marisco. They've got to get through him, and that's easier said than done at the end of the day. The Glocks close that gap, but it's only one kill thus far. Kickit coming close to a couple more, but he can't quite get it done. And Sinners will hold off pretty well.
Yeah, not bad. I think it's a nice little shutdown. They get the first, and they just sort of kind of shelter in, right? They wait for them to start pushing out and isolate those fights really, really nicely. You can't ask all that much more. So it will be PARIVISION. Interestingly, coming in towards the next round, force buying straight away. Now, this is something you don't often see. Force buying CT side when you lose a pistol, as much as I don't like it, is actually somewhat common. But force buying on the T side when you lose the pistol, and especially without a bomb plant, is very rare. If you've got a bomb plant, I can understand it, because you can actually go in towards Mac 10s, Galils, make it serviceable with that sort of 3k that you get. But yeah, force buying in here, this is putting a lot of reliance on those Tech 9s.
Oh, it's only one for Shock. If he wanted a bit more, 8 is good. So Zedko softens them up and obviously buys time for the rotations. It looks like it will be a heavy B play from the T side with these smokes over the top. Just grabbing a pause at the moment in the cave area. Molly is good, but it actually gets doused there by the smoke eventually spreading through. So it doesn't have to be the full bail from Zedko.
That feels actually quite unfortunate, in all fairness. It does somehow get extinguished. It felt like it was in a pretty good spot, at least deep enough that that smoke shouldn't have really made too big of an effect. 1 for 1 early here, but the MP9s, we know they can shred. So some really nice shots are going to be hit here by PARIVISION. And I think the main thing we're looking for is just, can we get a bomb plant?
It's a very good question. Moving in towards the site slowly. They've only really got flashes to work with. That one ineffective. MP9, it's a bit of work.
Ooh.
Will lose his head. Surely not going to stop the bomb plant, but you feel like enough has been done to win the round out. They do actually deny that bomb plant kind of at the very final second. It felt like Kicker already in the post-plant position, you know, ready to work on the clutch, but there is no clutch coming. He will go down, and so far so good from the Sinners.
Yeah, nice and simple. An interesting decision for me, though, really, to go for that force buy there for PARIVISION, because it now means they come in towards this round with not a hell of a lot. They have at least sort of something to work with. Kick is going to drop Nota and AK, so a lot of reliance on him. These are, you know, these are some interesting ways in which PARIVISION are approaching this T side, and not something you see all too regularly. And normally that would be kind of cool, right? You know, changing things up a little bit in terms of the buys and how you want to go about them. However, if they don't work, then we look back and say, why are they doing that? Rather than, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I kind of agree. There's maybe just kind of some theory crafting going on at the moment in the PARIVISION camp. You know, we're very early on in the season, very early on in this team's life cycle. They've only played one game against Monty, and that, I believe, was sort of a stand-in situation. You know, I think Alpha is coming in for Travis, but Travis is still like listed a little bit. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that 5th slot, to be honest with you. I don't know if you've got any info you might have caught on Twitter, maybe.
Well, I know Travis is going to another team. I can't remember what it was now, but I remember Trav CS being pretty happy wherever it was. So it's a fairly decent team. I know that. But I was going to mention the Alpha pick was quite interesting. I know Kicker was labeled as the caller, but Alpha's also been an IGL in his past. And of course, we know James has also been an IGL too. So this is essentially a team with 3 basically IGLs. I mean, at one point in their career, all of these guys have been primary IGLs. However, this round has worked out. Somehow, some way, no to getting dropped at AK has ended up being for the better. And this is where we come back to what I was saying earlier and saying, all right, so the sort of variations, I guess, we get in terms of how these buys come through and a little bit of a difference from PARIVISION have actually ended up working out for the better. So the remaining 2 of Peepo and Shock will just keep hold of what they can. And the question is sort of what they can, because they're going to get hunted here. Alpha's going to have a little look in. First fight doesn't go too well. Does Peepo expect a second? He can't afford to take a tag either. But it looks like Jay might just respect this. Maybe Peepo will survive the end. So there's an AK down. Another M4 as well. That is sort of taken away there from PARIVISION. That could have been saved. It doesn't in the end. Here's PARIVISION getting there first in one of the more unorthodox rounds there. As I said, Sinners just sort of overfight. I think they probably expected that there was not going to be a buy because they force bought the previous round and it ends up costing them.
Okay, so let's see if Sinners can have that return round, really. They do obviously have enough cash. A lot of mid-presence here from PARIVISION. Return flashes, decent, but no committal past that sort of point of no return in from Elbow. Alpha meets the business end of the M4, and Kicker also takes an awful lot of damage. So that is lane control secured for the Sinners, and of course man advantage as well. So it's a pretty good look for the CTs.
Yeah, not bad. There's a little bit of response with how low they are too. Belchinok, Nota, Kicker. They're all in that 1-bullet headshot range to an M4 or to an MP9. If it is on a B-stick, he gets a bit of more damage off. And Belchinok's walking wounded right now. And PARIVISION going to continue going forward.
Oh, big find from B-stick. Going to look to keep his bomb site alive. Molotov's coming over the top. He's not forcing the peak, right? He's set up in a lovely little crossfire here, and it will work out if he doesn't get checked at all. Lovely stuff from him. The young gun getting the triple kill to secure the round. Very, very well played by the 2 defenders there.
I'm really excited to see what this Peepo guy's all about. I've heard little bits about it. Apparently, when he was on the Sinners Academy side, apparently he was pretty talented. I heard a lot of people raving, saying he was a bit of a talent from the region. So I'm excited to see what he can offer up. It could be this kind of sort of second coming, you know, coming from Slovakia himself. It should be really interesting. I'm assuming speaks Czech, but I'm going to have to assume they're just judging by the fact that the rest of the team are, of course, Czech speaking. But he seems really cool. I've heard good things. People seem to be raving about him a bit, which is always a very good sign. So, you know, so far so good. That's a nice little round from him there. 6-2 to kickstart things. We'll get our first tack pause coming out for PARIVISION. It's been a weird few rounds, to say the least. So Dastan going to enter on towards the mic pretty early on. This PARIVISION side on paper, it does intrigue me, but I don't know about you, but it feels like it intrigues me for maybe potentially some of the wrong reasons. I initially thought Norbert was coming with James to this team, and unfortunately my King Norby is, you know, nowhere to be seen. So I don't really know what we're going to get out from him, or with this team as a whole. Where's Norbert, and what are PARIVISION going to do? And it's a super strange situation that we're in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, Norbert is a player that it feels like would really bring a team like this together. You've got some young players, some more experienced players. He's always been a really solid mediator, I feel like.
Yes.
Clean find from...
being costly there.
Oh.
Oh, brilliant.
Nades are big.
Lovely.
Nades are big. There you go. Just 2 remaining. I think they had a nice idea here, PARIVISION. They actually, you know, open up quite quickly, but it's just sort of fallen apart, and that's maybe down to the lack of weaponry, the lack of utility for sure.
B9 of Peepo. He's tempted to go back in for a little more. I don't really blame him. This angle clear. If he just clear close left, kick it to dead man, that's more money in his pocket. He's already sitting on a decent amount, but as long as the MP9 stays alive, there's just no need to keep rebuying in for him. It's such a solid gun. Conversation I was having not too long ago, it's either between the MP9 or the 5.7 in terms of value for money. 5.7 of course being $500, but one tappable is pretty solid at close range. But in the MP9, it just shreds, even against rifles. And some of these top players at range make it look like a rifle.
All right. Jame on the AK. Can he get anything done? Making a lot of noise in the cave. Flash has come round. Wins that fight nicely. Will lose his teammate, and just too many angles to check, unfortunately. Peepo takes him down, and Sinner's looking pretty good here. Up to 4 quite swiftly, as well as sort of dropping around and then recovering, not really letting it get to them all that much. So, liking what I'm seeing thus far.
4-1. It's feeling a little odd here. PARIVISION look, I don't know about you, but they just feel slightly all over the place in terms of how things are kind of panning out right now. But this is the first true gun round, I guess. So this is probably the better round to judge them in terms of how well they look. Kicker going through the Molotov to join in towards that mid-control. And this is where PARIVISION can start scaling up. At the same time, Sinners aren't actually playing too much mid-presence. They're happy just to rely off Peepo with the AWP. You know, we said we're talking about the lack of Oscar, but Peepo's 10-0, so they're not missing him right now.
This is true. I think Youngblood's got a point to prove in many different ways. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously, Sinners are pretty committed to staying at least regional, where a lot of tier 2 teams are now starting to move a bit more internationally. And, you know, an organization like Sinners that's been around for a while, you'd maybe feel that they would be a team confident enough to take the leap, as it were. But he still has to watch himself. They could go with other options. He is just farmed up from the academy, and how often have we seen it that, you know, these academy guys get 2 or 3 months and then, oh, this guy's available, let's go with that, you know, and your name value just isn't there yet when you're only a few years into your career.
So, Alpha looks like he'll be sent in first. Moving up as well. Alpha getting a lot of information here as it's a bit more of a standoffish approach. B-Stick. It's a big kill that he finds to keep it now in a 5 versus 3.
Oh, another one. Bomb will go down, but this is looking pretty damn good. Alpha peeks round. Easy find for him, of course, on the low HP. Not a few too many targets. Alpha looking crisp on these first 2, but he's got a few more to go. That one not quite as clean, and it will cost him in the end, whether it's a bullet or a grenade. He will fall easily, and Sinner's mounting another successful retake.
5-1 start. A bomb plant is nice because bomb plant plus loss bonus that PARIVISION have got does mean that reinvestment. However, it is still a pretty damning lead that is being held here by Sinners, and I don't know, we're just not really seeing PARIVISION look as clean as we know they sort of can be, especially with the individuals on paper. I mean, Nota, for example, is somebody that I really liked kind of in some of his previous teams. He looked super, super solid playing on kind of the previous iteration of PARIVISION. I think he was there for a little bit, and then he kind of dipped out, and then was playing with Amcal for a bit too. I mean, he seems like a player for me who I think has a lot to offer up, but I don't know. At the moment, they sort of look quite discombobulated. Great flash. This could be dicey, but Kick It will get the first, and Zedco might get stuck, and he does.
All right, let's see. This is probably the best looking round PARIVISION have had. Oh, shock. That's kind of awkward. I don't think that was fully intentional. So he will have been heard, and now it is a game of cat and mouse for him, which Wait, does he look? They're trying to coordinate as best they possibly can. The AWP on the contact. Spots a toe. Can't land the shot. He's sticking around for a bit more, it would seem. Shock. Oh my goodness, the timing on this is so strange. He will go down at the fight that he takes anyway. Kicker in for a 3-piece here, and I think that's going to confirm the round, to be honest with you. It will go A here, and I don't think there's any chance B-Stick and Peepo are having a look.
Moving forward, Nota. Trying to creep his way in. He'll realise sooner rather than later, no one's home. So a freebie of a site about to be found. And it's just a saving mission. And for Peepo, in particular, it's about saving the KD. You're 10-0. Don't die. There's no point losing that. It will be PARIVISION getting their second. And it feels like, at least when rounds are lost so far, it feels like they're lost, at least in my mind, kind of primarily because Sinners are over fighting. We saw it happen on the first round that PARIVISION picked up against that sort of Tech 9, 1 AK low buy, where it was them just assuming it was a nothing investment, and then because of it, falling flat. Some of these Angels, this time more of the same. Nice couple of shots that come through. Kicker just gets fed in towards shelf, and they one by one go in. The spacing was a little awful, and there was, no real trades to work with.
A battle of survival now. B-Stick is quite far forwards. Protect the president kind of look, I think. They really want to keep that AWP in play, of course. Oh, people have got to be careful. B-Stick doing a good job of staying alive there. Finds the important kills. That's one of the things with, young, inexperienced player. Just save the AWP. That is the most important thing. The only thing you want to do. Maybe you could have bought one into this round. Is he going to have fully calculated that Shock was right on the line of safely getting an AWP in? Probably not, right? But he was still posted on that angle. So just little things that you can notice here if you're a more keen eye.
Let's see. Second round for PARIVISION is good. A lot more needed to at least salvage this T side. I feel like, especially with how ancient it is, and how puggy it is these days, you do really need sort of bare minimum 5 rounds, but for being completely frank, we're looking at trying to at least go 6-6.
Early utility here. PARIVISION set up and ready for an A play. Going to have to wait a bit longer. Mid control. Always important. Lovely flash. Peepo has to be very careful now, but just as... Oh, there is a gap. Maybe a failed smoke, actually. That's not ideal, and yeah, they will pay the ultimate price.
Another kind of quite grandiose mistake. Hang on. Shockus ran into that Molotov of his own regard and just died. He ran into it and just kept ticking. Peepo needs some heroics here. Finds the first, and he actually is given the luxury of getting out.
Yeah, it's getting a bit wacky at the moment. Bomb goes down. Peepo in for another peek. Zedco, awkward fight, but thankfully Kicker a little low. Just needed the one bullet to land in the cranium. We'll see now then. This is a good, the best post-plant situation I think that PARIVISION could have set up here. It's just all about what they do with it. Jame on the AK, in for one. Not had the AWP out an awful lot. He nearly sets up another. There's so much damage done, but the kills just don't come off.
Hate to say it, 6-2. As we head into the 9th round as well. Peepo still yet to die. Immortal in this game, it feels. And he did pretty well. Gets his kill, gets out. And he knows that he can sort of rely on his rifling core to support him. And they do a very, very good job of that. Just keep him alive and set up a really strong crossfire where attention's still going to be drawn towards Donut. He's also there for a bit of an insurance policy of getting mid control, just in case there's a late lurk, which is obviously pretty common on those A hits. Have a late mid player coming through Donut to try and plant for Donut. Nicely done, Risco. He looks tempted to play in front of that smoke, and he might just do it, especially with the flashes. In they come, but he overextends.
Nice finds here. Missed shot from Peepo to kind of even things up as well. So taking them some time, but I think PARIVISION starting to find a bit more success when it comes to the speedier rounds. Trying to force those individuals, which is, I think, what this team is going to be all about for a little while. However, their conversion rate is not that solid. You know, Sinners have defended some bomb sites. They've mounted some good retakes. So, yeah, PARIVISION have to play this perfectly from here.
Don't let things slip for no reason. It looks like the read by Sinners is to go to where Alpha is, and he's doing a good job of baiting them in. There's now more or less 3 players in this position, and as the rotate comes back over, Shock's going to be a little late, and James punishing him for it.
Should be all she wrote. A lot of time on the clock, but yeah, Zedko and B-Stick just not interested. Actually, paramount that they save here to make this buy happen in the next round. PARIVISION a decent read on that fact. Are kind of after them. Alpha holding the line. Will find a key frag. It's quick from B-Stick, but maybe just slightly quicker from Nota to get him traded. And the third round comes in. A pretty big deal, as we say, that they're not able to save that.
It really does help. Money, it's in a spot where I've seen teams force buy here before, but I would like a bit of a half buy, reinvesting towards the next. That sort of a vibe. It looks like we're getting some half investment coming through. I'm not 100% sure what the play is here. It looks like now with the sell coming through and attack pause being called as well, we're going to converse before we commit to whatever sort of buy we're going to go for. But for me, I would probably aim for a bit of a lowish buy here, force buy or full buy, may I say, in towards the next. And then you could potentially even have Peepo in towards an AWP. I mean, he has 3.7k. Even if it's like AWP half armor, maybe lacking a bit of util, but not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe you do just take it on the chin. That seems to be what they've gone for here. Mostly just pistols, actually, like default pistols. Very, very little in the way of upgrades. Some very select pieces of utility. Clearly got a game plan for that. Try and feign some presence here. Get those nades into elbow. Don't quite find the damage they were looking for. Can Zedko get his kill here? It would be a massive deal if he gets this. Sticking around. Happy to take the fight. Oh, Shadows. But he's too quick. He is too quick. Aware that he knows. That is mental pre-fire. James is low. This is very doable for the Sinners.
No way we're losing to a full eco. Surely, right, guys? Surely. Alpha going to try and make sure of that. AK picked up and said, go! Going to hit more shots! How are we letting this slip? Oh! Zedko! What is this round? How? It's a full eco. 1 deagle. And Zedko might have just put the team on his back here in the most ridiculous fashion.
That's mental. Oh my goodness. James left in a situation that he knows well. It is the T side, so he doesn't, you know, often save here, but I think he will. Oh no. Hold on. Okay. This is it. The new leaf. New year, new me. Give it a little look, but they're giving him plenty of space. Yeah. They're giving him plenty of space here, so I think they are, you know, still aware of the fact that he might look for this. Don't play around the bomb. No need to necessarily do so. Yeah, time is obviously of the essence. Zedko's got this AK, etc., etc. So pretty well played here from the Sinners boys to just draw back. Maybe one last look at the bomb, but even that Shock is not going for. So James does play for it, but he plays very, very slowly, and they will indeed send the info in. Where is he at? Try and take him down after time, maybe. James is so down for staying alive, however. Takes another one with him. So big old round for Sinners, regardless of how it is won and the fact that maybe they could have had 2 surviving there. It does not matter. That is a minimal spend that they've managed to convert.
Yeah. Getting full eco'd, I think, is really salt in the wound of what has still been a bad display of Counter-Strike so far. And they're the sort of rounds that, when you look back, like, how did we lose that? You look at that and say, okay, that's where it was. That's where things fell flat on our face. 7 already for Sinners is a very good start to your opponent's map pick. There's no two ways about it. That flash missed. I'm surprised he still fights, but Marisco's just full of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, Sinners, of course, trying to add insult to injury with this follow-up round at the end of the day. Nice. They need to completely write off PARIVISION, steal this one away, and
Oh,
it's
no.
looking good. It's looking very good. Zedko on the wall bang doesn't get much more tilting than that. I'll tell you that for free.
You got naded and then wallbanged. It's like a perfect little setup there as well. It has to be said. Oh, fellas. It's falling apart here in the server. And Sinners look fantastic. They look like they haven't made any changes. This is a team who are as strong as ever.
They're always good in, leagues like this. I think
Yeah.
it is one of the things, sticking with the region and whatnot. You're not taking like massive chances. There's not huge culture clashes and different outlooks of playing the game, etc.
Yeah.
They have lost a bit of a legend, as it were, but they may well be happy for that. Painting their own sort of picture as a group and proving that they can do it without Oscar. Especially this young guy. Depot looking great, of course. Fake plant comes in, buys a lot of time for Shock to take space and actually drop that bomb. Only 15 seconds left. He loses his life, but surely you just throw the kitchen sink at this and deny the bomb plant. James left in the clutch. Not going to happen. Down he goes. And yeah, the opening to rounds, I think PARIVISION, it's not like awful. They have a few ideas and sometimes they find success. Other times you could argue they get a bit unlucky to like spams and stuff in this round. But it is once they get towards those bomb sites where they just really do not seem to have an idea of what to do.
Yeah. They honestly, genuinely just look lost, don't they? The game plan falls apart and they just don't really know what to do in a lot of these situations. Maybe it is time for James time. Get him back on the calls. 'Cause at least VP had some sort of clue about these late rounds. That's actually where they did a lot of their best work. But at the moment, it has not been a pretty sight. This is a dire position that we're seeing. In a 9-3 half, for me, surely is just completely unrecoverable. Oh.
Yeah, certainly feels that way. Ooh, a missed shot. His life is sacrosanct, so we'll see here Belachonok and Nota to kind of do it all. Another situation where Sinners have read it well, defended their site very well indeed. Perhaps PARIVISION just feeling too telegraphed as they move in. Not quite sure. Either way, 4 versus 2 should easily be convertible here. Even Zedko holding out for this kind of a flank. Might not expect the bomb carrier to be doing it, but all the same. He's in the right place at the right time. Takes an early swing, and that costs him.
Right. At least something feels like it's brewing up here a little bit. Nota rotates back over. It's an MTP bomb site, so we're playing full retake here. But you still would favor Sinners in the spot that are in. Belchuk's only got a deagle. Nota's sub 50% HP. So it's most definitely tough.
They can't really believe their luck, I suppose. So the bomb site's completely open. So free plant at the very least. That doesn't matter. They need to convert the round. I don't know. It's still going to be tough. There's only like one flash left, I guess, for the Sinners side is all I'm feeling. Nota tries to play it confident. I can respect that out in the open, win the round single-handedly, but it's all on Belachonok, who certainly has been a name to turn some heads, catch some attention. He's trying to catch heads himself, and it's just not going to happen. Down he goes. And that indeed will spell the end of the half. So looking pretty good for the Sinners, I think it is safe to say. 9 rounds, got to be enough to secure things in this second half. We'll catch you in a few.
proof. Don't ever lose. Put the evil in the devil and I'm let it loose. I'm an earthquake, make your bones shake. There's no question I'm the king, I always dominate. A force to be reckoned with, better remember it. Look at what I can do, walking all over you. Incredible, it's criminal. I never lose, I'm bulletproof. Best in the game, they all know my name. Can't run now, it's too late. Got winning in my blood, in my DNA. It's destiny, it's fate. I'm unbreakable, unbeatable, undefeatable, I'm invincible. Unbreakable, unbeatable, undefeatable, I'm invincible. I'm bulletproof, don't ever lose. Put the evil in the devil and I'm let it loose. I'm an earthquake, make your bones shake. There's no question I'm the king, I always dominate. A force to be reckoned with, better remember it. Look at what I can do, walking all over you. Incredible, it's criminal. I never lose, I'm bulletproof.
Alrighty, welcome back. It was a wildly interesting half. Sinners, I felt like never really had to work for what is an incredibly substantial lead. We had like one or two moments where they were caught up upon, but PARIVISION, it was lackluster to say the least. And I mean, look at where we are now, flowing with confidence as Sinners rush in towards the A site. They are flying in towards the fight. Belchinock, what have you got for us? Probably a second needed. But it won't be getting that, so the bomb should go down momentarily.
Clean plan. But we'll see what they can do with it. James on the backside. He's actually got very good timing here. Yeah, B-Stick checked it, and James picks up 2. A little bit of luck on the side, but we'll see. Shock clears out that donut angle. This is all they've got to work with now. They pretty much have all the information that both players are going to be in here to hold on to the bomb as well. They are indeed mowing them down, but that bomb is being defused. In the meantime, he does get off it. Time is pretty tight here. Time is very tight indeed. Zedko just has to get this right. It's a full body block. Can he cancel? Yes, he can. And Zedko clutches up 4 at the end of the round, but that 2-piece is really going to be rough for PARIVISION to stomach.
Zedko and pistols, a match made in heaven, it seems. Because, my God, some of the rounds he's had with the pistols have been insane. And another beautiful one right there. 10-3. And now a pistol lost. I cannot see a world in which we get back into this. Surely it should be next to impossible. I cannot fathom how we cannot flip this on its head. But it may not be impossible. It feels highly improbable. Belchinock with a solo rifle.
He's going to make it work. First comes round. And he wants to keep going here. Oh, that's a lovely nade. Let's see, a bit of confidence. Maybe what PARIVISION ordered. They're not ready for the second in the cubby. It's only 1 for him. Spam back through the smoke is not bad. Meanwhile, Alpha finds a kill. That's in Red Room area. Decent find from him, actually, that I think really bolsters the PARIVISION position.
Let's see. We've seen already one of these sort of buys for PARIVISION work. It was early. It was Nota on that sort of solo AK. How are we once again having a second behind it? There's something about these forced by eco rounds that have been way too successful.
It's true. We had the same kind of deal in Asia earlier this afternoon. So I think teams getting back into the flow of playing, you know, and it is always the forced by situations that can be troublesome. I think it was Dupree actually on the desk. There was one of the games at Bounty had a lot, and he said, yeah, they're sort of the worst type of rounds to play against because it's a very different mentality, very different approach, and you just don't quite know what to expect. You know, there's a lot of different ways of approaching it, whether you're stacking or getting aggressive or baiting or just playing a conventional round. You know, it can be very difficult to read.
So, where we're at, feeling like this one still is in favor of Sinners, but it still feels really dicey for me to expect a world in which kind of PARIVISION get back into this. But you don't want to allow this PARIVISION side to find momentum sort of out of nowhere. I mean, this has been the kind of the awkward thing about this is that, you know, we haven't really seen PARIVISION play properly yet, and maybe there might be a world in which they can sort of pick up a little bit of the slack on this CT side. It isn't the CT side of the map anymore, but it still has those feelings about it every now and again.
Yeah, once in a while. Dota on the crack angle spot here. Actually going to work quite nicely. The AKs are coming towards him, so... Oh, got to be careful. Takes a decent chunk, but dishes out a bit more, and he's actually sticking in here. That is very, very confident indeed. I guess it comes off the back of a contact flash, but could have backfired quite easily for him.
Okay, nice shot. Volchinog. Noto, what a piece. AKs. Oh, have a chance. Have a chance, because Marisko's found 3. Shock's found 1. How is this round on his head? We could be losing it here as James down to 30 points of HP, and they know where he is. We're going to stick the plan. And we're going to win the round. I cannot believe we've let another one slip. 2v5? 2v4? How is that falling on its head?
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. I mean, PARIVISION, clear problems here, I think, from the get-go. This is, yeah, rough. This is very, very rough. We've seen the post-plant situations in that first half didn't look very good, and that is a massive slip for them. Yeah, I don't quite know what to make of it. I think teething issues is one thing, but PARIVISION just not on the same page. This is their pick as well, right? It's not like the Sinners are a complete pushover on this map, generally speaking, but all the same, you'd expect a bit more control in these kinds of rounds, in those important must-convert rounds. So, days looking numbered for PARIVISION. B-Stick kicks this one off.
Moving towards Ram. Kicker. Utilizes. 5-7. Well, oh my god, he snipes up the gun. He doesn't let anybody pick it up, and he catches Alpha. Can't get Kicker behind it, but just make sure that AK doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Let go. Oh my, that's a little cheeky. Mac 10 at range, finds the head. I believe no head armor there for Kicker will indeed cost him his life. So, advantage wrestle back, B bomb site found is the key thing. Nota's here in good time to cut them off in theory. Not quite the easiest job in the world, and the bomb made it across, so doesn't have too much of an effect. Marisko can just keep digging for info, figuring things out here. James looking for a different avenue of attack, but no real time to go for this one. It's all about, I think, taking a gun away, saving it into the next round type situation. And he might just get the drop here. So it is a fair read to go for this flank around. Oh, it's just checked in time by Marisko. That sense of high-level timing really comes into play there.
I felt like there was a moment there, wasn't it? James can get in for the flank, but... Oh, nice shot from Nota. I mean, it's all for nothing, but nice shot. Either way, he does get another behind it. So, traded out at the end there by Zedko. Great work. It's 12-2-4 on your opponent's map pick. It is not a bad spot to be in at all.
Pretty damn comfortable here. I think it is safe to say we've had a handful of rounds from PARIVISION look contestable. You know, not too many more than that. Looking
loving what I see.
Like they should win them.
PARIVISION, this is
It
their
has
map
been all
pick,
about
just to
the
remind
Sinners
you
pretty much
all.
the
And
entire way
they're
through.
about to head towards Inferno, sort of reeling off the back of what was a pretty drastic underperformance, to say the absolute least.
Oh, Alpha starting off. We'll get traded through the smoke. No to left low in the donut here, so this is kind of getting out of hand. Lots of AKs, though, just too much to deal with, and Sinners looking like they are in full control now.
Belchinok needs a nice shot here. Oh my god, spotted him out. Frisco, I think pretty smart there, just to, yeah, just not really fight. He does take a bit of damage, but he gets out and just keeps the numbers in their favor. Heading towards 8. There is still James here for an MP9, but this would be wild. And also, the bomb's not committed yet. They don't know yet, but if they just walked in towards B, they win the round, they win the map with ease.
Yeah, 100%. Starting to figure it out now, I think. As they're slowly making their way up. And emphasis on slowly. Really taking their time. Playing things pretty respectfully here. Working out the execute. But there is zero resistance over here. So this is all for naught, all for show. Meanwhile, footsteps going to be heard as Morisco is this player up on shelf. Doesn't have an exact position, but I think he's heard 1 or 2 steps. Obviously, catches the close player with a bullet in the head. Ready for one more as well here to close the game out. James will take him. With his position being revealed, it's not going to be an easy clutch up for James. No kit available, no utility, and of course, no mates. So this is looking out of the question. Peepo on the spot, confirming his location. Shock hears him coming. No time to be walking around and just taking it slowly here. Kind of playing with their food ever so slightly. James may well be getting slightly annoyed by this. One would imagine B-Stick has to take him, but that is the 13-4. To close it out, Sinners making mincemeat out of the PARIVISION boys on their own map pick is the important thing to remember. And
it was just incredibly easy. There was, I mean, it never felt like once that this side broke into any sort of sweat. It was so simple, so effective. And I don't really know if PARIVISION have what it takes with that performance to go in towards Inferno and sort of push it towards a map 3.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think, you know, it really does make a keen kind of difference. And I don't know, this is, for me, it just feels like PARIVISION are not really all there quite yet. You know, we do have to bear in mind, as a team, where they're at. This is only their second official, not really playing all that much Counter-Strike once the season's gotten started, whereas some teams, you know, are straight in there and, you know, been playing for a couple weeks, maybe even technically before you might class the season starting, etc. So, you know, that is something to consider, that they've not had loads and loads of reps as a squad. They've also, you know, had a few of these players only in for like a week, so maybe even they don't quite know what's going on. Then you've got like Travis in and out, it would seem, what's going on there, not quite sure. He was announced with the new lineup, but he's not necessarily playing with the new lineup, so, you know, just feels a little bit strange. So we can give them some teething issues, but I think we want to see from at least one of these maps some sort of competition. You also do have 2 major winners in this team, so it's like you have to really look towards that and say these guys should be able to just match against these players. They should be able to bring an extra level that Sinners have not really seen.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. Either way, we're going to throw on to a little bit of a break. When we are back, it is map number 2 up. It's Sinners' pick, and PARIVISION are going to try and desperately stay alive.
Think you've seen it all? With Faceit Watch's Point of View Selector, you can experience the game from any pro's perspective. Use the multi-view feature and customize the stream with up to 4 angles. Control what points you see while earning rewards. Drops are activated and lucky winners will receive Faceit points. And if you ever miss a match, VODs are now available. Get instant access to demos with multiple POVs and commentary. Watch it, control it, Faceit.
If you wanna be my love, baby, gotta take it slow. If you wanna be my love, I'll show you what you wanna know. If you wanna be my love, baby, gotta take it slow. If you wanna be my love, I'll show you what you wanna know.
my brain. There's no time to bait. Climb out the sheets, find the jeans from a previous day. Grab the keys from off the counter. Commute into the city, gonna take another hour. Man, I hate trading time for a way. At least I got a home and a job that pays. Faded from color, reaching a sign when I wonder how.
Welcome back, enjoyers of Counter-Strike. We're here, of course, with this second map of the series. Sinners really looking to make it quick, I suppose. A very, very one-sided affair on Ancient, leaving PARIVISION in the dust, and now they move on to Inferno, their pick. We always question it, right? Inferno picks in Tier 2, where you don't have as many reps or even, you know, tape to watch of this PARIVISION team. It can be not necessarily risky, but just not as safe as you think. You do have to be careful, right? When we maybe had something like Dust 2 sat there, perhaps. But all the same, they're feeling confident. It's a true test of PARIVISION as well, because I think this is your more fundamental kind of map to start on as a team, and we'll see whether PARIVISION have done their work now.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. So we'll see how things end up panning out. We have some stats as well to bring you of Pipo and Zedco at the tail end of that. And both of these guys, and I wanted to bring these guys up kind of as a bit of a highlight, just because they're the two new boys on the block for Sinners, and both of them had real standout games. I mean, Pipo was unkillable. He's like 11-0 at one point, which was kind of insane. And Zedco, I mean, won an eco round alone with one of the most ridiculous Deagle plays. But then on top of that, had, you know, the pistol round on the T side, which was fantastic. He had some crazy moments. So both of the two new boys on the block for Sinners looking seriously good. So if we get them out again, who knows, man? Who knows? This could be actually a pretty swift 2-0, all things considered.
Yeah, absolutely. Zedco sort of not a million miles away, but playing in Stampy for a good while, and you know, definitely felt like he was the strongest member of that team as well. Tried his best in the project. Maybe didn't quite reach the high heights that they wanted as a team, and you know, of course, not really around now. So it, for me, felt like Zedco was trying to push through. He's at that point in his career, in his age, where you'd maybe say that he's at where players should sort of peak around 24 to 26, right? When they've got that combination of the mechanics still being solid and the experience and the game sense and all that also comes together. So I think he could be very good for Sinners, maybe learning a lot more, playing under a little bit of a different roof, as it were. But on that map, yeah, fantastic. I think you don't really notice as much because all the eyes are on the young guy coming up from the academy and whatnot, and Zedco, as you said, really nice Deagle round, but it just felt like he was consistent and just finding the kills more often than not, really. So, yeah, he takes down to him potentially, and we'll see how things move into Inferno. This is perhaps where you expect a player like Zedco to continue looking good because of his more well-rounded game as compared to Pipo.
Yes, I'm with you. So I am actually quite looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. But I want to look on the other side as well. Just what do we get out from PARIVISION in a positive light? Because, I mean, there just wasn't really anything, I think, is the main thing. We were looking at, like, every round, I was sort of stunned by just the lack of control or understanding or the synergy, the cohesion, all the kind of the good stuff that you want to see sort of in a side, like you mentioned, with major winners, right? And it just didn't seem to pan out. So I was a little baffled by what we got. I don't think it's the full story about PARIVISION. Maybe we can talk about a bit of an off map, but the question is, and I guess the problem is that you can't have two off maps, because then you just lose the series. It's sort of as simple as that. And while it's not going to guarantee, you know, winning this for Sinners is not going to guarantee you in towards next stage just yet, but it's good to have these kind of early wins under your belt to kickstart the season. And also, you do get a little $500 bonus as well per match one, so that always helps.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, to be fair, and I think it will certainly be something that, you know, spurs someone like the Sinners forwards, as you kind of touch on. I think that from a group perspective, you know, there's obviously some very solid tier 2 teams. We've got Maybe the likes of Aurora, Sashi, 500 getting a lot of reps in at the moment. Namiga still sort of spawning them out, it would seem, these young and scary players. But I do feel Group B, you've got Sinners, you've got PARIVISION, you've got the Nine Pandas, who kind of have a decent looking team on paper. Monty, I mean, they've moved some players up from the academy, but they still have those heavier hitters of a Dihar, a Hades, and a Demka, right? So I think it's actually a hard group. It is a hard group. And I feel like getting this early win is obviously worth its weight in gold, as we like to say. But we'll see. We'll see panning forwards whether, this keeps up for Sinners, whether it was just a flash in the pan for one map, and that sort of goes the other way as well on the PARIVISION side. Was it just them not really getting into the Ancient, not as solid as it needed to be? And as we say, Inferno just feels like such a leveler of a map. And I feel like it can't go like that again. Right? If it does, then PARIVISION, I think, would have some serious issues into the early life cycle of this team. But, not a single positive player, just not really any round that felt impressive, right? They obviously got a couple of wins, but it just comes off the back of maybe a few mistakes or a super aggressive and successful individual play, which you just can't rely on very much. So yeah, we're having a few problems early on for PARIVISION if this continues, especially.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I mean, you even touched on it a little bit, but, there are no positive players, but there was no positives, just, flat out. There wasn't really anything that we can look back on and say, okay, this was okay. I mean, at the very most, you can say it was okay what we saw from Jame, but that's what you'd expect. Jame is still a player of tier 1 caliber, right? Playing in kind of the tier 1.5, tier 2. So, but even then, it wasn't great. So I don't know. This Inferno has all the potential to actually being really, really dicey, kind of uncomfortable, and it could actually be another bit of a massacre. In all honesty, it was really, really well played, and I was impressed by Sinners. They just looked so comfortable, so in their element, in their zone, on not their map pick. And we know Sinners are a side of a hell of a lot of reps under their belt too. So, to be expected that they look comfortable. We know these guys grind out Counter-Strike, especially within that kind of tier 2 circuit. And PARIVISION, maybe, especially for a couple of these players, and especially those who have been sort of out of the online scene, they're not quite used to that yet.
That's true. That is very, very true, I think. Yeah, time's sort of going to tell. It obviously gains a lot of traction, the moves like this. You also have to ask the question for someone like James, is he here to stay and make this project work, or is it just a bit of a stopgap?
True.
While something else crops up, but then is something else going to crop up? I feel like, the Jame value has dropped pretty substantially over the past year or so, coming into CS2 especially. So very, very curious to see how this goes. But this is a team that wants to be battling for the majors, for the stickers, and, hopefully getting into that sort of top 32 to get the safe invites and whatnot to close qualifiers and things like this. All the same, we are straight into the action. PARIVISION starting off on the CT side here, going for 4 on A.
All right, interesting little play, and maybe a bit of a read here from PARIVISION. And so far, the read feels sort of so good in the sense that the bomb, slowly but surely, is heading in that direction. So it might actually be a wild gamble stack that the gamble pays off.
Or does it? Maybe not if that happens. How far are they going to sell the fake Belachonok? Yeah, that's a really heads-up kind of play to just put some pressure on, reveal what's going on. But they have to be very careful here now. PARIVISION, of course, B-Stick holding in towards middle could do a lot of damage. I don't think he was ready for that many players, but it has worked out quite nicely. Information traded by Marisco. B-Stick keeps it coming, and he looks nice and clean. 3 heads for him. Another pistol for Sinners.
Oh, that's what you want from your IGL, right? Leading by example. Not bad for B-Stick at all. And Sinners continue to flourish in these pistol rounds. Regardless of whether it's a pistol round in the start of a half, or if it's just whenever they have pistols because the economy's broken. Great to see. Either way. So, first on the board, we're going to go for that PARIVISION Force coming through. It's upgraded pistols and the MP9s. And, you know, normally, obviously, I don't like these. However, what I will say is that in this regard, they've actually converted quite a few of these already, especially on that T side when they would go for a kind of a gamble rifle of some sort.
See if they can make this work. They're back once again with the A stack. So seems like they are big fans of this. Kicker's got to be careful, though. Hopefully he's learned his lesson from the previous round that you need to keep your head on your shoulders if you are that lone B player, because it just really messes with the game plan. Boost up. Bit of a funky angle here from Morisco. No one on the other side of it. It's more of a short stack coming in from PARIVISION, and I think not going to see too much action on that side of the bomb site.
All right, well, you can very much see how Sinners are taking this extremely carefully. That smoking towards bracket does worry me a little bit, because that means they're going into the stack.
Or flash. It's actually spotted there, so pretty well done by B-Stick to maybe hear that coming as well. Either way, still moving into the stack, as you say, Alpha. 2 on the Deagle. This could get dangerous. Bomb's been dropped in towards short. They have to pick up the pace. Kicker comes in from behind. Thankfully, Shock is nice and quick. Notes it in on the site. Gets his reload off, but he just does not have HP to work with. Still, I think you can be happy with that. It's good damage done by PARIVISION. Quite
perplexed at what Belchonk was doing in the thick of that fight with long control already being taken and, you know, dinking up one of his players. He then is crossing in the open. It felt very weird, very odd, but it was a round that was expected to go the way of Sinners. And, well, it does. So, 2-0 start. And, of course, with a force fight in the previous round, no money to work with here. So it should be 3-0 relatively easily. Alpha's got a Deagle out and half armor. So it's actually a bit of an extensive buy, all considering that it is meant to be more or less just a full eco. Sinners shouldn't really have to work too hard for a third here. And, yeah, PARIVISION continue to just really worry me.
Yeah, they've flipped. It's now a B stack. You know, they're going crazy with these ideas. James just, you know, shaking his head every round at these calls, man. He's like, I would have never called nothing like this. What is this kicker guy on? But no, it makes sense with the pistols for sure. And again, I think we're just seeing in the early stages of these games a lot of theory crafting from PARIVISION. You remember on Ancient, they were sort of sending it a few like fake outs, some weird splits and things like this. They just seem to have, and the forces as well, they were really messing with the economy. They just seem to have a few creative ideas, let's say.
Yeah. Well, let's see if they creatively pay off. Going towards B. There's 4 towards B. But they've overcome the stacks before, so it doesn't, I don't think, worries them that much. Alpha, nice one for the first. They're seeing a lot of presence here. This might pull them away, or do they just try and take the fights knowing that they've got the better firepower for this? Does that smoke actually keep them there? It might do.
Yeah.
They've got to go, in 20 seconds, they have to go towards B.
I was just going to say, still have to watch themselves with this. And, oh, man, edge of the smoke business. USP, where the hell's it coming from? Should have been a kill for Jamie, you feel like. He's done a lot of damage. AK retrieved by Belchonok, trying to catch them off and just overwhelmed with the numbers. It's very low for people. Let's see what he's got. Wow. Unfortunately, not enough to beat the AK. Belchonok, in particular, having a massive impact in that round. He gets his Deagle on the backside, and he's the unknown element that comes in with good timing. And there you are. Sinners get somewhat a taste of their own medicine. But that is a hard eco from PARIVISION that they managed to make work. And Sinners, there is such a thing as too much respect, you know, giving them too much room to work with. Yeah. And then they have no time.
Yeah, that is it. All right. I can't condone losing those sort of rounds. It's not the first time this series that it's happened, but those rounds can be costly later down the line. I mean, I guess thankfully for Sinners that we do get kind of a reinvestment coming back through, but it does require Peepo in towards a P250, as he obviously wants money long-term for an AWP, and a tech down out for B-Stick. Rifles being held here by Zedko, Morisco, and Shock, and Zedko down to sub 50 already with a very healthy grenade.
Oh, James, gifted. Lovely frag for him. He'll take those all map long if that's how the fights are going to present themselves. Belichonok sticks around, but again, we've gone into discipline mode. PARIVISION drop back and look to play B instead. Sinner's not really scared of the A-bomb site, sacrificing a man to give themselves some control, and they are really creeping in here. Alpha's going to give it a look, but not before he makes noise, and yeah, the player on the long corner is also somewhat caught off and now has a decision to make. Do I go forwards? Do I go back? The Molotov kind of makes it for him, and he loses his life. Advantage bagged for Sinners, and round bagged, in fact. It is, of course, James time. Save comes in. I think it's completely fair enough here. They have no chance at that A-bomb site.
Yeah, this one makes a lot of sense. I can't really see a world in which you make this sort of retake stick. So, good response from Sinners off the back of a pretty rough loss round in the prior. You kind of respond quite immediately, make it, for the most part, super effective, not that costly, only losing shock. You're pretty happy with this, and it's got 4 rifles being brought over in towards the next round. Beautiful, beautiful work. Peepo even could drop one over here towards shock and buy in himself. He could actually even go in towards the AWP if he wants. He has enough money for it, just enough, but he wouldn't have enough for the util, so somebody will have to drop him some util if that is the case. Looks like with the investment of util, he might drop over. Yeah, actually, no. Briscoe drops it over. So Peepo keeps the money on deck. So there is an AWP waiting in the wings if you need be. All in all, though, 3-1 start, and PARIVISION, the reinvestment comes back through for them. Of course, the guns that they were utilizing in towards that round, for the most part, were stolen away from Sinners. So they had still plenty of cash left in reserves. 3-1. PARIVISION, this is the true test. What's this Inferno actually like? So far, it seemed very gambly in terms of its style of play, and well, you can't always rely on that.
Need plays here as the smoke gets blown open for quite a long while, actually. Not completely blown open, and they actually take a lot of damage for their trouble. Not the best start to the round for PARIVISION, but at least everybody's still alive.
That'll help. A lot of good damage dealt, though, has to be said. Peepo leading the charge, setting himself in here. Not a single point done towards Sinners just yet. So you're going to be feeling pretty confident. Smoke will come down. As long as they don't go before it, James should get nullified. No, actually it goes very deep there. So James, I wonder if this gets overlooked.
Possible. I like this call, though.
Agreed.
This feels a lot better. Maybe these early stacks and stuff are all part of the conditioning. Slow roll from Sinners. 30 seconds left. Smoke comes in. Another one over the top. I think bits of information. PARIVISION with only 23 seconds left will be very, very ready for this hit coming in. It's a lovely smoke right at the end of the round as well. Onto the balcony. The slow creep forwards. Can they find success with it? It is just a battle of guns at this point. Nota goes unchecked, but he fluffs it. He does not find the frags. James alone will survive for now. Sticking around a little more confidently, maybe somebody else to come his way. I think, again, playing the mind games himself, but the round is not going to happen, surely. 19 HP in the AWP. This is, again, where you would save.
Yeah.
And the Sinners, despite the stack, come away with another round.
As much as it's kind of funny to talk about James Ham, this is a very smart call to save. He is barely alive. This is exactly the move he should be making. But on the flip side, Sinners start to pull a little further away bit by bit. And building up a strong repertoire on this T side is what it's all about. It's just giving us at least enough confidence in what we've seen so far that we're sort of happy with this Sinners role. Yes, that round loss can maybe come back to haunt you, but it doesn't if you just win the bulk of the gun rounds, which is what Sinners have been doing all series long. They've had a couple of hiccups here and there, which is stuff that can get ironed out, later down the line. Especially this being a newish team with 2 changes, but so far so good. PARIVISION around that AWP, 1 rifle and 3 upgraded pistols. Not exactly fantastic. James going to do a lot of heavy lifting this round.
Yeah, for sure. it is kind of to be expected. Oh, with where the cash is at. The airstrike lands. Doesn't find him, but it is a lot of damage. More airstrikage coming in, more damage coming in. So Sinners softening them up, as is the game of Inferno. Slowly but surely gaining more and more space in Banana. Smoke comes in, and now they have to rethink their strategy.
Zeko. Advanced angle here for him. Just making sure no stone unturned as well in towards top Banana. And now they can set up, as they've been doing so well. I think Banana Control's been fantastic for Sinners. And they don't always need to use it, which is the blessing of it. But it is such a requirement to have very good Banana Control. Or else you're obviously always going to be in a couple of problems. If you're unable to get it, it leaves your choices pretty thin. For Sinners now, only one man here. He's just kick it. They might just commit to this fight. The bomb is here with them.
E-stick goes straight through. Kicker does well to find one. But that's the only player in the defense here. So bomb will go down. Again, a decision to be made for PARIVISION. They've got 3 of them pretty quickly together. James has said, I'm going to save. Maybe Bellatronok feels he can buy into the next round, or, halfway, getting involved. He's at the back of the pack. So we'll see what the pistols can do, and then maybe a decision gets made. James as well is not a million miles away.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Maybe we're on.
All right.
Maybe we are on. That's a nice find. If the second had come in, definitely would be on for it. Morisco, ridiculous shot there as he was fading away around the corner. So I think it's a half save, half exit, half maybe if they're playing aggressive, we could give it a look, but it obviously does not pan out for them in the end. Just trying to play slightly more confidently, I think, and it does seem like part of the mission directive here is to get this energy of saving and whatnot fully out of the system.
Sure.
I think even towards the end of James' tenure in VP, it was kind of going as well, to be honest with you. It just doesn't quite work anymore, right? There's not as many rounds to play with in CS2.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. 5-1. I'm liking what's on the cards here from Sinners. They are setting us up for what actually on paper, when we were, we can sort of select our game, so to say. This looked like the on paper best game, and it is, right? This is kind of somewhat top names and top teams, but it's just not been the case. PARIVISION are yet to show up in any real true regard. At least I like this on Nota. Bit of a change up. Aggro playing towards Banana. And this is where the Banana control has come so easy for Sinners. They've got to actually now really have to fight for it.
Slow roll of nades. PARIVISION again just reacting to where the noise is. Going to move across. But it's just one smoke, one flash, right? Sinners are not fully giving themselves away. And again, starting to control the game and the mid-rounding a hell of a lot more. I think that they've got PARIVISION somewhat red. And the thing is as well, they keep going into these stacks, but I think prepared for the stacks. And PARIVISION actually not finding as much success, despite the fact that they're upping the numbers and strengthening the defense.
I love this quad A stack. Third time we've sort of seen it. 2 out of 3 though haven't worked, and that's not a good start. Oh, it's not a good start. Morisco, what is that for the entries? B-stick will fall, shock will trade, and well, Scriv, mate, that's the round.
Yep, that will be that. And as if to sort of show us what I just said, the fact that they are walking into these stacks and still finding a lot of success, right? I think they're just very, very well drilled on the Inferno and individually playing very well, which I think is a big part of why they're winning out in these rounds.
I mean, mechanically, they've been unbelievably crisp today. I mean, Morisco, that 3K, 2 of which were basically reactionary, and that in itself is super commendable. They just look like you mentioned, kind of super well drilled. But this is now where for PARIVISION, they've got a lot of issues around them. James trying to save desperately. Missed shot. Will he save? Is the question. The answer is yes. The spray couldn't quite find it, and the timer is his best friend there, as it usually is for James.
Right then, starting to get into the worrying stages for PARIVISION, it feels like. 6-1 this half. Getting away from them. Obviously, they still have the room to close that gap, but it is looking like the Sinners are once again putting themselves in the winning position. And I don't know, this feels dangerous. If PARIVISION cannot give us a rifle round soon, it is looking like a 2-0 and looking like a pretty swift one at that.
And quite surprisingly as well, just for the names in the server, as we've sort of touched on. 6-1 right now, and it's not a bad buy, but it's not fantastic. We've got, you know, an MP9 in play for Kicker. Of course, Jamie, that Orb still alive makes you believe a little bit. Zedco, we're not going through the smoke, are we, boys? This is a bold call. They are. We're just going to go straight through this. Credit to them. That's super confident.
Kind of fair enough. I am most certainly here for a move like this. Oh, they're still going. Are they going to find success with it, though? Of course, rotations round quite quickly. The apartments player goes down on the other side of things, and there it is, Bellatronic. The unknown element will find the key frag. Kicker trades him out. The bomb wasn't even near that B-bomb site, so feels less planned out by Sinners than some of their previous rounds. It now leaves Morisco, who I was going to say is looking pretty unstoppable, but Jane will put a stop to him before I even get the words out. PARIVISION pick up their second round. I will again bring some negativity to it in the sense that Sinners, I think they have themselves to blame for that one. But all the same, PARIVISION happy to get to.
Yeah. It also has to be said, you know, this has been a consistent factor from Ancient too, is just that when rounds were lost, more often than not, they're actually lost just because Sinners just get way too comfortable or too overconfident because of the lead they built up. They've just got to keep a little bit of that discipline kept in place. Don't allow PARIVISION any leeway. We're going through this. We're going through this. Echo, he can mop up if he does well. Oh, and he does very well indeed. Nota overlooks it. Kick it. Didn't react in time. Bob's your uncle. There's the opening double.
And this is it. You know, if Sinners sort of tighten themselves back up, I think they put themselves in a very good position to not really be bothered about the one round. Even in a way, give that one round away and be like, it's sort of a blessing, isn't it? We can reset their money and destroy the future buys. And they're looking to do just that. Incredible start. Zedco being a little quieter here, but maybe there's more and more pieces to this Sinners team revealing themselves.
Okay. Still not over, that's for sure, but as long as Sinners, again, don't sort of overthink this or overcook it, it should be pretty simple to see off. But he's going to creep up behind the smoke, and he doesn't realize it yet, but he's walking into an empty site. We spoke about these gamble stacks for PARIVISION, which, you know, for the most part have been borderline useless. But this one does have guns behind it, which at the very least gives you a bit of hope. And they have to commit to it now just because of the time. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. They're hightailing it. They're running all the way. And I think that all comes by the fact that Zedco's walked in and seen nothing. Or BC, I say, has walked in and seen nothing.
Yeah. They had certainly, again, you know, planned it out. I think Sinners have a really good directive at the moment. It's a complete package kind of move. Individuals looking good, but some great mid-round calls. And, well, yeah, if B-Stick runs into resistance, then maybe it falls apart, but perhaps they've heard 2 or 3 on the sound cues. Lovely audible call coming through from the Sinners to just hand them an easy 7th, and again, a great bounce back. In the same vein, PARIVISION, I think they'll kind of take it in a way because they lose 2 very quickly. If they lost every single player here, their half is kind of over.
Yeah.
So the fact that they keep all these guns alive makes a big old difference.
Yeah, it definitely helps, doesn't it? They will, for now, I say, keep these guns alive. I do wonder if there's a bit of a late hunt here, just in the final few seconds to see if they can catch a gun. Looks like it'll work against Morisco. So he gets caught by Alpha right at the tail end there, but either way, beautiful stuff, regardless, and still defiant lead by Sinners. Now 5 rounds is built up to. We could be talking, you know, we had a, 9-3 in that first half? We could be getting something similar, if not actually, at the moment, arguably worse. You know, that if it gets to 10-2, there's got to be no chance.
Nades raining on in. No one really on the business end of any of them. Maybe 2 points of damage done to B-Stick, but that is about it. So, no early kill to come in. James on his trademark AWP, taking a slightly more forward stance. He's been really liking this angle. Been here quite a few times, in fact. A couple of kills from it. Trying to force something out. Molotov comes in. He's going for a mid-peak hit. Is he going to commit around that corner is the question, of course. The answer is going to be no. Got to be wary of Boiler. So, PARIVISION testing the waters, but there's no one playing that far forward on the Sinners side.
I would love to see a little bit more proactivity, though, from this PARIVISION side. They've got the individuals to be quite aggressive if they wanted to, but we just don't see it. They're so happy to shell up on the site, which sometimes is the play, but at the moment it feels like it isn't. I feel like if you fight fire with fire a little bit, you are going to be able to catch Sinners off guard. Yes, mechanically they've been insane today, but they're not unstoppable.
Smoke out. Sinners, as per usual, scaling quite slowly here. Only 20 seconds left on the clock, though, so it's going to have to burst out of nowhere, it feels like. A lot of long presence to come in. James still here on the orb. 15 seconds to get this bomb down. Got to get through Alpha as well. This just doesn't feel good. James needs one more to keep the round alive, stacked on top of each other here as they're trying desperately to break in towards the bomb site. No time for that bomb. No time. That was 3 seconds. And yeah, that is about a second short as well, to be honest with you. Sinners not giving themselves enough to work with.
7-2-3. It's a small saving grace off the back of the clock for PARIVISION. I would probably like to see them get at least, if they can get bare minimum 5, I'm relatively happy. I feel like anything less than that, I still find myself very, very worried, just because of how good Sinners have looked in the pistol rounds and how sort of disjointed PARIVISION have. Most of their pistols have been, whether it's T-side or CT side, just this pack mentality and hope you can sort of trade out. The good news for Sinners is, yeah, losing that, it is a little dire, sure, but we buy back in. However, losing this would actually break the economy. So if PARIVISION want the 5th, get the 4th here, and it sort of comes part and parcel.
It is true. It is very, very true. They have a keen opportunity handed to them to make this a serviceable half. And you can see Sinners, their confidence, a bit more knocked. B-Stick going to take a lot of damage. That's a nice nade as well. Even more coming in. Kicker uses his teammate as bait, ultimately, to find that one. Marisco goes down. It's a big scalp to take. They have to be careful with how they play the next few moments. Sinners trying to trade, but 5v4 as the dust settles.
Okay. Utah being set up here. Right in saying that nade breaks open the smoke. Another one planted down. 45 seconds. No commitment of the bomb just yet. It's just going to be dropped in towards Cubby on Banana. So, at the very least, we're doing okay for now. James, right idea. How's it shot? Good. Shock. He also had the right idea too, but just couldn't hit it. Kicker just goes wandering into no man's land, and it just does not work out.
Nota, hidden behind the pillar. Flashes coming in. Support is here. The smoke a little late. Nota does get one. Needs trading like 10 seconds ago. Yeah, he's in for another. All down to Peepo. Swapping guns. Up to AK to another AK. 15 HP to his name. Surely not going to be enough. James just baiting him round here. He knows the time is low. And again, it's another timer situation here for the Sinners. Just winding it down a bit too much. And I think PARIVISION have maybe figured out ever so slightly that it's like, if we can just keep the numbers up,
yeah,
they're going to be panicked. They're not going to have enough time to deal with all of us.
Yeah, ever so slightly overcooking these rounds for Sinners, making life quite difficult for them, and it will be quite a difficult next round just because of the finances, right? Look where we're at. AK coming through around that AWP, and then it is just a Mach 10, Take 9, and Deagle. It's not a pretty buy turning towards the last. And if ever there was a time to go just a little bit quicker, just to try and change it up a bit, in terms of the pacing, we know we've been trying to play these slower rounds for Sinners. Now would sort of be that time. James comes off the angle, actually the worst possible moment.
Oh, Chonok. Hidden in the cubby. James to be the first point of defense here. Sinners looking to get the move going a bit earlier on in the round. I think that is fair enough. James not fast enough. New kid on the block, making a name for himself. Where is Belachonok? They really have no idea, and he might go fully unchecked here. Oh, a half look. Sells them down the river. It's a little messy, but he still finds himself too. He's now backed up. But Kicker gets the nade out. The shot misses anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. An advantage swinging in favor. It's now the 1 versus 3 for Zedco. And there's too many to find. 7-5 at the tail end. PARIVISION claw back 3 to make it work. And maybe now we've got a game on our hands. See you in a few.
And find that I left my distractions behind. In the meantime, I'll blindfold my pride and keep hold of my time like it's gold. Fading from color, reaching to find when I wonder how. Saying it'll all be fine. Why you sit around and waste your time? Stuck in the backseat and told to drive. They told me go to what you love. I never knew what that was, but even when I make time, I think of all I've given up. I wish you wouldn't be so.
Hello, welcome back. We are heading on the way in towards the second half of map number 2, and it was looking really swimmingly for a while. We were talking about the possibilities of a 10-2 for Sinners, but they did let it slip, and we had a brief discussion. It felt like at times for Sinners, obviously it's so easy for us to say we're hindsight, but it did feel like if they played things a little simple, they would have guaranteed at least a couple more rounds, but just slightly overcooked a couple of them, and allowed PARIVISION in towards this game a little bit. Their pistols so far, though, have been very clean. So, who knows? Shock. I kind of love this. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, they were creeping into him, right? He wanted a bit more pace, I think, to make that work. Kind of a wild strat there. Maybe if you are like 9-3, 10-2 up, but now the bomb site has fallen. They were weakly defended as well. So I don't know. I don't know about the Zeus, but he's cooking. He's trying to come up with a few fresh ideas. We'll see if the rest of the team can mount the retake kit. No kit available. They do have a smoke in the hands of Peepo. Could maybe give them some space, but they just need the heads, you know. It really doesn't matter too much about the utility. They don't have the numbers to be working with. Flash to keep this long player at bay, and yeah, going to concede this one. So PARIVISION working their way back into proceedings here, Nao. Looking good while doing so. Get Morisco on the A-bomb site. Maybe it gets defended. Unfortunately, 2 kills that don't mean anything for the round. They will lose 3 of the 4 there, so that's something, I suppose. We'll see what the Sinners decide to do now.
That does change things a little bit, right? We're talking about how good the pistols have been. Losing that pistol now puts us into a spot where this game should, being the operative word, should be tied up. We're going to get that force back coming through, though, from Sinners at the very least, but it should be tied up. It's just about whether we can make sure we don't overthink a couple of situations, as we've also been prone to doing out of the Sinners side. PARIVISION have an AK, a triple Galil out as well, and a Mac 10 behind it for Kicker. This is a tough round to lose if played effectively. Not a lot offering up. It is mighty quiet in the server. But Kicker moving his way forward. And this would be quite nice. Beast needs to be very careful here. You can't afford to overfight, but they have got that gamble sack towards B, which I like. If they can sort of just tempt PARIVISION in towards the B site, things could get messy.
Indeed. Very much so. Oh, it looks like they're going. I mean, another smoke down from the CT side. Generally feigns the idea that there's not that many players here. You know, you're trying to keep them at bay. Like, if there's a stack, you want to goad them in. They have indeed goaded them in. B-Stick gets 2. 30 seconds remain. Another one on the site to deal with, however. Bomb going to hit the deck with that frag. It's down to just Jame. 25 seconds. 2 players known, 1 unknown. Too many angles to check, you feel. An overface from B-Stick, maybe. Jame playing it well here.
Oh.
Takes the elevation. He's running out of ammunition. I think a dink landed through the corner of the box. Will make all the difference to reload at the worst possible time. And they force him from both sides. Sinners win out and show them how to do the stacks successfully.
Super important. Winning a force buy like that really, once again, just flips this game on its head. And it changes things quite drastically here. So this is now where, once again, it opens up in a pretty beautiful way. Is this where PARIVISION start to just slightly drift out of contention? It does worry you. And losing a round like that, you have to come back in by your own because of your double eco situation. But can't bring a lot to the table. I will say, though, Tech 9s in the right hands, if played well, are super scary. The only thing is, though, I just don't know if it's the style that would usually be akin to PARIVISION. A bit of a quicker attempt to play. Jame with the Deagle, spamming, gets away with it. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Kicker's killed everybody.
Oh, no.
He's get out of my way. He's got the home in Tech 9. It shows no mercy. And he has absolutely killed everybody. That is a mess. And it will be a return round here. PARIVISION keeping themselves in the conversation, as Sinners absolutely could have hit the double digits. It seems the force buy wars have begun. The messiness that can sometimes happen at the start of a half is indeed here.
Horoscope. He's going to try to keep out of this AK. He should be okay to do so. There's one little looking for a hunt, but that's a very good response from PARIVISION off the back of losing an awkward 1 to a gamble stack. You immediately go back in with a quicker play, and you know James started off well, but it's Kicker. There's a lot of the heavy lifting here. Fantastic round from him. There isn't, I guess, as a slight silver lining for Sinners, there wasn't really a lot of guns to pick up, just in general. So that sort of works out for them in some regard, but either way, 8-7. This game still got at least something brewing behind it. PARIVISION aren't quite dead and buried just yet.
Not just yet. Early utility rains on in. Zedko getting aggressive down middle. He's got the break of the smoke here, looking to maybe catch a player. Reloading. Nota was ready for him. Marisco follows just the sound, it would seem, and finds a frag for Sinners. So not a bad start for the CT side. Really could have been worse.
All right, moving forward. With Zedko down. In a bit of a gamble stack back towards B. We're going for a 1-3 split. Surely not another gamble stack going to work out. Surely not. This one feels, at least on paper, more doable just because there is still guns to work with for Sinners. AKM4 and a Galil.
Oh, smoke is pretty nice here. Peepo not really able to do too much to stop them coming in. But again, trying to bait things round. B-Stick works in his own smoke. Finding the advantage. Peepo steps forwards, loses his head. But it's Shock that comes in from behind. Nearly for 3. Not quite. But he's sorted the round, hasn't he? Jane with 12 HP. Does not want anything to do with the B-bomb site. He's overthinking this one, mate. I don't know that they've necessarily heard him running away, but it might work. It might work. You know, he's got time to go B. Time to go A. They've not fully moved off of B, though. Yeah, and he's just going to walk in back turned, unfortunately. Thought that he'd fully sold it. It's a bit of an idea, something to try and make the 1v2 work. It doesn't happen, and Sinners find 9.
Okay, all right. We're going to see that first attack balls get called by Sinners. Maybe more than anything, just as a precautionary kind of just say, all right, you know, fellas, there's a couple of silly mistakes slipping through. A couple of times where we're maybe giving them a half chance here. Let's not risk it. Let's not gamble here. We're going to call for a pause and a break-up in the game. We get a buy back in. So an AK and a Galil was already PARIVISION working with, but they've made these rounds stick before. So it feels like you've still got at least something brewing with this sort of a buy. I wonder how much PARIVISION use this sort of a attack timeout themselves, right? We know this is a side who could very much use it in the way they've been playing.
Shock getting aggressive in towards second middle here off the back of the flash, and it is highly successful. Sinners edging ever closer to the 2-0 here, and each move, each aggressive stance like that will get them closer. Very, very solid look as they find themselves with the advantage here.
Peepo. It's an unorthodox angle, but I like it. Doesn't often get sort of pre-aimed. You look to brackets, you look to library, you look to long corner. So it does get overlooked. Should be one and done, but when you got two here, might be slightly different. Roach knock. Yeah, easily down. But they have spotted both now, so they now know, they should know that short for the most part is clear. So the A site is actually now open. It's only long control that Sinners have got.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to be a bad thing. However, Shock doesn't catch Jame, but he softened him up. Bomb's going to go down. PARIVISION got to come up with one of their best rounds of the game so far to convert this 5 versus 3. Times on their side, positions on their side. That's about all they've really got. You know, the one AK's in the hands of the player that's low. So there's a few things definitely against them. Kits available for Sinners, no rush. Smoke dissipates. Only one coming in from long anyway. Most of the team are going to look for that short avenue. This bomb is ticking. This bomb is ticking. Nice find from Shock, though. He will be traded out quickly. It's the burst forwards, but they just don't know where to look. The kills do come in. I think the kit on the bomb is just about enough. It's awfully, awfully close. But Sinners, their retakes have been pretty damn solid, and that is testament to it.
Yeah, it was close. That was closer than they probably would have wanted for a brief moment, but thankfully, in the end, not the end of the world. 10-7, 3 rounds ahead, 3 rounds away from a 2-0 here. There's definitely been moments where this has felt like it could be sort of flip the other way in a couple of clutches. That one had something about it just because they were buying time. If only they had like just one more player to work with. And it could have been something. 10-7. Sinners getting ever closer.
Yeah, just knocking on that door. As we said, really, really nice move from them in the start of the previous round to obviously net an advantage, but also I think, as you can see, it does put the fear into PARIVISION. They've got a couple players weary of an apartments push into this round. So it has a knock-on effect. The buy not looking great, but PARIVISION, with some hope in their heart, have got to convert this.
Okay. Alpha with Belchinok trying to just find a stray Sinners players to give them an advantage. It's not easy though. I mean, Sinners are not offering up a lot. And in a similar vein to what PARIVISION were doing, they go for the 1-4 split themselves.
Yeah, kind of interesting. It really all does come down to your B player at the end of the day. Another smoke in, preemptive. 30 seconds. He's got a Molotov as well. But I do like this from PARIVISION. You know, you know what you have to do. You know you probably have to move through this smoke. They've got a lot of players stacked up. Now, with that pin pulled, he gets a tiny bit of information that starts to give the game away. The Molotov is great, but Zedko can't land the shots. B6 close to the action. Molotov goes down. 2 very low HP players here. Not the best plant in the world, right? They just have to get the bomb down. This banana player now really can't play around that bomb. So he does find his kill, but he now becomes a kind of useless element. Needs to change up his position. I think he knows that fact. However, with all this being said, they don't know the HPs of the players. It seems like Sinners are not very confident for this. And they will slowly, but indeed surely, look to back off.
Yeah, they're going to pull away. Oh, for a moment it felt that there was maybe something. But in the end, it's rough. I mean, there was definitely a moment there where we had maybe something to work with. And I think, like you said, if they just had any inkling about how much damage had actually been dealt, there really could have been something brewing there. But not to be. 10-8. PARIVISION at least staying competitive. Making some of these awkward rounds stick when it feels like they shouldn't be. Still not convinced though. Even though it's only a 2-round game, normally I'd be sort of all in for this and saying, all right, there's a lot to work with here. But I'm not. At the moment, it just feels like I still have to see a completely different showing in terms of what PARIVISION have actually got on offer. It still feels very hot and cold. Shock. That's a rogue peak though, I will say.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Trying to force the issue. It's a key round here. PARIVISION could really get back into the game.
I like this though.
Zedko deep in banana. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is not a good spot to be in. Ooh. Good for what? Nearly good for 2, you know. That would have been huge if he came away with another.
The transfer was nearly there. He's so unfortunate. Just one more bullet anywhere onto his kicker. And he gets that kill. Double stacking towards Shaw here. I wonder whether the bomb comes to join the pack. And if they go together, if they try and pop in towards Shaw, this could be a little awkward. I mean, especially with a long smoke coming through. That Molotov will at least bait out where Peepo is. It won't for Marisco. If they went for a dry peek, PARIVISION could have got a freebie. As Marisco was turned. There's now 3 players here. Does the bomb now full rotate back towards B? We've got time to do this, but we don't want to be toying with that idea too long.
The boost up could be big here. Could be very, very big indeed. Rotation coming round. Low HP goes first. Peepo going to need a couple out from him. Does indeed get it. It's down to the 1 versus 1. James got 20 seconds. He's looking to back off and go towards B. I mean, I think it's because he made the decision instantly, just about has enough time here. Should be pretty comfortable, to be fair. But no dilly-dallying for a choice like this. Bomb going to go down. Smoke on the B-bomb site. You know, Beastic can't quite believe it, I suppose. But it does reset the game. Still, it's as fresh a 1v1 as any.
For James. There's 1 versus 1. B-Stick has got a kit. He hasn't got the util. And B-Stick he's taking a sweet time. He's looking for all the ideas. And he's got a lot of angles to clear, not a lot of time. B-Stick's got to commit here. If he wants to give this a go, he's in the open. James doesn't confirm the kill, but time is of the essence. B-Stick just doesn't have the time to play with here. He had to stick here, he had to fight, and James doing super well. He knew that he was not on it. Very, very well done from James, as expected in the clutch there. But it really felt like B-Stick took an absolute age to get over there and actually commit to clearing angles.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's a nice idea from James to fully dip off, right? Again, feels like a very decisive kind of player at the moment. And he is having a pretty solid second half in particular. But a great game overall, not dying all that much, right? Really picking his fights well. Sinners, the gap will close. It's going to be 10-10, and we're once again looking down the barrel of a potential third map after Sinners had done so well at the start of this second half. You know, the pistol didn't go their way, but they bounced back very well, and then they lose out another force buy, but they also bounce back again. So they will be sort of kicking themselves that they've let some of these rifles slip.
Yeah, that's for sure. This is still feeling like Sinners have animated life really hard for themselves for what feels like no reason. Of course, this is a non-existent round. Bomb will go down in a second, and it is just a quad stack over towards long, which is unorthodox, but I kind of like it. But unfortunately, just no one really there to face them. There is potentially a hunt by Belchinok, or I think it's just more of an insurance policy in case anybody goes looking for a late play to get a gun or two. PARIVISION going to tie this game up. We're going to buy back in for Sinners. They lose that, though. We could be talking about potentially moving in towards a map 3, which even still feels wild to be saying that, just because I know we're tied all square, but it doesn't feel like an even game.
Yeah, I kind of get that. It's sort of an odd situation. PARIVISION slowly mounting up, though. Building a lot of speed here, and yeah, Sinners, some slightly cheesy strats in the middle portion of this second half thus far.
Yeah.
And they're not quite working in the same way now. This is where, yeah, some time taken to talk things over would be really good, but seems we're just flowing from one round into the next. We'll see if there's anything different from Sinners here. Obviously, in the previous rifle, we had a massive overface coming in from Shock. Things like that have just got to go.
Let's see. I've definitely been worried about a few things that I've seen out. I mean, from both sides, sure, but Sinners are really faltering when it matters most to close out this map. You were 10-7 up. 3 more rounds needed. You had the nice little buffer zone, and it's just completely eradicated. We're back in towards apartments control, and that one's not bad either. Zedco, he honestly comes out not too bad from that. It looked like it was going to be way worse.
Belchonok is the one to watch, though. He's looking to pick off ahead. Slightly lazy move here from the Sinners could cost them. But pretty tight on this A-bomb site. They're going to rotate quite heavily across, and now they have to go digging for information. Where is that bomb going? It looks like it wants to back off. I mean, Belchonok from his position will have heard at least 2. Playing quite aggressively as well, but it doesn't seem they've read that. Bomb is being left in the middle. Fake out after fake out. This is the classic Inferno that we know.
Standard stuff, isn't it, really? The kind of teetering between the two sites. The roof's being sold, may I say, over towards B. At the same time, there's a play here. Oh! Zedco didn't confirm it. Pistol pulled out. Alpha will punish. I can't believe he gets away with that.
Kind of wild. B-Stick starting to sell it in. The smoke down from PARIVISION themselves, and then nading it. I mean, it's a weird move. Peepo just been kept on that B-bomb site, though. The one smoke that comes over the top is just enough to keep his attention. He could have really made the difference in all that carnage if he came in at the right time, but unfortunately he does not. And thus, PARIVISION will take 11 here. Looking dangerous, looking more and more likely that we're going to get a third.
I think you are right. I'm so surprised that this is even kind of a possibility from what has been incredibly lackluster, more or less all the way throughout. The fact that we're even in this sort of position is slightly baffling towards me. Peepo. He should be okay to save it. They are going to hunt, sure, but they're splitting up. And this, he has to take one fight. Oh, my God. He will have his head tucked. Oh, my God. He gets so close to falling. There is at least a sigh of relief. But still, doesn't make me feel too happy thus far. 11-10. Sinners slipping away on their own map pick. And we kind of said you're going into the belly of the beast when you're going for that Inferno pick. I mean, this was sort of James' territory for such a long time.
Yes, it's very, very true. And I think, you know, it is a dangerous kind of pick that we talk about quite a lot, actually, right? You have to be sure of the Inferno. And in places, Sinners have got some good rounds. In others, they just don't respect how easy it is to convert. Peepo trying to make things work on that AWP. He gets deleted. His partner trades. There's still not enough numbers to make this one look doable for the Sinners. The AWP as well, I think, has just been handled and thrown away so that no one can pick it up in the mid-round. Meanwhile, Sinners not quite sure what to do with the remaining manpower. Do they bolster up A? Is it going to be B? I don't rightly know. Marisco out in an open angle, bested by the AK. That's got to be the round now, to be honest with you. A completely open.
Shortly. And this is PARIVISION map point in a, you know, a baffling sense without a doubt, but one that they'll take all the least. This is feeling like this map number 3 is going to be required here, which I'm just so surprised to see. Again, we talk about how the Sinner side had made so few mistakes, bar basically the end of the first half. But the only issue is from the end of the first half onwards, it's never really sort of rectified itself back to a, you know, a super solid position. It has still remained in a really kind of, I guess, just tough showing from Sinners. They never really got back into kind of that 6th gear. They kind of been coasting and maybe I left things a little too late to kind of get back into this. For now, they're playing for overtime, and that feels like a bit of a reach. No guns to be picked up at the end. Beating his Echo with a loss bonus, though, can buy up, and same, of course, with the rest of the team. I do wonder about that AWP if Peepo wants it. You know, now could be a time to maybe put a bit of pressure on towards Jem. He's actually not been doing too bad.
Here we go, though. The overtime play, bro. I mean, credit to the Sinners to, you know, make a bit of a brave choice. No room for error. We haven't seen them win a round. We haven't seen them really compete in a round for quite some time. PARIVISION have had their number. And as you said, scoreline close, but it has felt a little more one-sided in this second half, to be honest. And it's now become more and more the case for PARIVISION. Definitely curious to see if Sinners have got anything left.
Playing up close. Zedko. With Marisco there, just trying to find that early fight. A great nade on towards Kicker. Starts of the round at 23 points of HP, basically before seeing anybody. So, doesn't get too much better than that. But still, Elchinok's making a pretty advanced move here.
He's been doing this quite a bit. Gathering information. Gotta be weary. He's going to keep going, and he was ready for the response, ready for them to be afraid, but also prepared for him. Trade is there, and thanks to the kill in Banana, it does mean that Sinners find themselves in a strong spot. Burst through the smoke. Zedko able to get away. Smoke comes down, and no follow-up quite yet. Oh, God, it's so awkward. Really well played here from PARIVISION. That was nearly disastrous. Zedko just got under the Molotov, and you see the impact it has. Alpha remains the last. Picks up the bomb. He will get the plant here. But he's got a 1 versus 3 to contend with. Toes burning. in the church, trying to play around the sound, but it does not happen for him. And Sinners, they keep it alive. One more round in it.
Okay, overtime is still a possibility, but they're just flush for cash over towards PARIVISION. So, of course, no issues for them when it comes towards the talk about the reinvestment. Yeah, some of these rounds are just baffling to watch in hindsight. At least. 12-11. Sinners aren't dead just yet. Still the chance, if they can get it towards overtime, they can potentially put that pressure back on towards sort of PARIVISION and force those mistakes out that we've sort of become a little bit used to, especially after map number 1, and especially that first half too. PARIVISION, of course. Jane, AWP out for him. AK's alongside it. Firepower's even with Peepo picking up a big green of his own. Who knows?
Oh!
Okay, alright.
Alright.
Alright, what can you do? What can you do? Oh, double nade set as well behind it. Yeah, sure, sound. Alright.
What can you do? Welcome to Inferno, mate. Welcome to Banana. Potentially one of the more RNG areas of top-level Counter-Strike. Yeah, just don't stand out in the open. But then if you go into one of the cubbies to stay away from the spam, you just get naded. So, you know, unlucky. Unlucky for being on Inferno, I guess. And
Classic
that is
Inferno.
James taken down as well, which is pretty scary.
Classic Inferno things, isn't it?
Mm. It's one of the maps. It's one of the maps. Certainly getting stretched out, and it definitely is here as well for the Sinners and PARIVISION. Sinners knocking on the door of the overtime. 3 remain for PARIVISION. Ota, one of them, he's not very healthy at all, moves on to the AK to just try and keep the pace up here. They have rotated one off of A, so maybe a slim avenue that PARIVISION can work with. Molotov a bit late, but it does give information. Marisco afraid as he drops back. They just have to watch. They don't give too much room. It's a nice find on the AWP. Hammering these nails in, and overtime is right around the corner.
Okay, Sinners breathe a pretty huge sigh of relief. They have stayed alive, at least, in this game. Belchinok has to do a lot of heavy lifting. He needs an ace clutch, and it's shut down. Shock will force us in towards an overtime. It has been a wild performance, but there's still more life left in it. And it's such a kind of a difference compared to map number 1. 13-4, super easy. No real kind of conversation points at all. In a positive light towards PARIVISION, this has been much better. And that is for sure. But at the same time, Sinners, they definitely took their foot off the gas. They definitely got a little bit too comfortable. And once they lost control of momentum, they never really understood how to get it back in their favor. This feels now where they can reset the mental a little bit. Of course, both sides are going to get an extra attack pause if they want to. And it just gives you a bit of a chance or something to work with.
Briscoe, aggressive. This is an overtime style play. Hidden away on the stairs. Now, he's not going to really have heard these players cross into the apartment. Shock is able to find one. Briscoe comes round, catches James, you know, so it's all working out quite nicely. Ooh. Alpha forced into the Molotov. Looking good here from Sinners, and, you know, this is great for them. The momentum stays with them. Stringing now 3 together. Big rifle rounds. And PARIVISION, this is where you really do get tested as a newer lineup, right? What do you have saved for the overtimes? That, like I say, is an overtime call from the Sinners when it's super close and every round kind of matters. You're not going to go for something like that. It's very risky. It can maybe be a bit random, but into overtime, you have loads of room, loads of money to work with. So why not go a bit wacky? Zedco pretty much seals this one in. Kick it going to be known about. Flames tap him for just a second and not really looking too good. Actually, maybe not fully hearing that, but I think he is a goner here. Zedco finds him, and this is very, very solid stuff from the Sinners now.
13. The rounds that they were kind of desperately trying to find in regulation. It's always the classic, you know, you're desperately looking for them in regulation just to get to that all-elusive 13. You come in towards overtime after definitely choking out a little bit, and then you recover and you go back to normal. It's a very solid CT round, something that really feels like has not been the case for them for ages. And for PARIVISION, back to the drawing board a little bit. That slightly quicker play Didn't quite plan out as they'd want. They don't break up in that smoke. Jame will play behind it. Not going to spot out too much. Early util damage will tag up those ramp players. Only briefly, but it's enough at least in James. But James got in a position where he then becomes one-tappable to the M4.
PARIVISION trying to really figure this one out. They need to get themselves back on the board, man. Cannot be dropping to a flawless half of the overtime. It really would be problematic. B-stick. What's that first line of defense? Nota pulls back as the utility comes in. And they try and go for a boost over the smoke here, but there's no peek from Sinners. I believe that bomb hit the floor as well, by the way, so they will have a good idea of what's going on. B-stick is gifted too. Perfect timing. Great read from him, and he is able to drop away totally unscathed. Thank you very much, he says.
Yeah, no complaints. All right. Zeko should get cleared here. I mean, it's pretty common, but Shoulder spotted, and he re-peeks into it and does at least an okay amount of damage. B-stick doesn't need to move at the moment. His angle's normally pretty good, but now he's shot. Now he's actually in a lot of trouble. Down he goes, 3 versus 3, rounds back on.
Yeah, very quickly back on as well. Peepo's still around. Can't deny the bomb plant, but can get the numbers back. Kicker low. Maybe looking better for Sinners here. Not really able to get yourself into a decent post-plant setup either. No one coming via banana. One flash remains. Well placed. It could actually blind up both of these T players. Here it comes. Oh, it's only halfway, but it's the confidence. It's the confidence that gives Shock to take that peak and to win those fights.
Yeah, they didn't know how easy it was going to be, but in the end, they make it look simple. Shock, a lovely little 180, has to be said. Very simple stuff from him. 14-12. If Sinners brought up a flawless half on the CT side, I think it's probably done. But even going 2 for 1 has not been bad, especially considering where we saw the holes in their CT side in regulation. This feels like where you've got something up the sleeve. PARIVISION, you've got to get around on T-side. If you can't, it's donezo. That's it.
So much utility raining in here. PARIVISION have got a clear directive. They are still trying to confuse things with a long smoke coming in, but they're quickly up banana, trying to catch the Sinners players off guard. Great nade, finds a kill, even more damage onto Nota. PARIVISION just trying to brute force their way in. Bull in a China shop. But unfortunately, I think there's even less space in banana than there would be in, you know, the proverbial China shop. And they eat so many nades on the way in. Advantage looks good. Bomb has quickly swung back, but Marisco keeps it clean. Belachonok double spray down to open up A, however.
Belachonok's really had a good couple of moments. Credit to him. He does continue to step up in some quite big ways. And again, he continues to keep this open for business. Belachonok on for the ace now as well. Last man. And he'll find it. What a way to get that T-side round. That was so needed for PARIVISION as Belachonok puts the team on his back. What a round.
Great finds. Absolutely going to be needed as well, right? They honestly were not looking good. So he might just have bailed them out in a big, big way there, Neo, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Belachonok is sort of one of the players that maybe goes under the radar on this team, but has been a prospect for a little while that I think a lot of people are keeping an eye on. You know, very, very solid player, still pretty young. And he's played in a number of teams, including, I suppose, his PARIVISION one a couple of times. But yeah, moving up from Namiga, you might have heard of course. And I think that this is a guy that really can take some names.
Let's see if he can continue to do exactly that. But it is actually a really beautiful round from him. Shock. Trying to play close in apartments. It won't get too much on PARIVISION. We already know from what we saw in sort of regulation about how with PARIVISION, they're just sort of happy to shell up on site. 3 towards A, 2 towards B. Bomb not committed either way just yet.
No, not quite yet. Again, pickup of pace. Sinners not wasting any time. Nade's pretty good for both Jame and Belchonok to work with Zedko. Ridiculous shot from him. Jame, though, aggressive angles, looking good. Shock tries his best to send it. Not going to work. They just need the one in the backs of their minds. You know, you're obviously playing for the win, but sometimes maybe playing ever so slightly not to lose. Zedko alone, he needs an ace of his own. They know where he's at. They've got the bomb control, so surely not going to happen. Jame continues playing on a pretty aggressive angle off the back of his teammate. Kicker finds the kill anyway. And now we are back on. PARIVISION, after a really weak start into the overtime, have brought it back to being even.
Yeah, there was a couple of moments there where it felt in this game, in this sort of back and forth, where both sides have had this at least aura around them, and Sinners lost it so quickly towards that round. Very well done from PARIVISION. They just sit back. And we saw this happen all the way throughout regulation on their CT side back in that first half. And it started off really poorly. The gamble stacks weren't working. They were losing Angels. But actually, that tail end of the CT from PARIVISION was actually really solid. And that basically kick-started the resurgence from them. So you do also start to believe that maybe there's still a couple of tricks up the sleeve for PARIVISION too. They are happy to rely on a couple of these individuals to multi-frag on the sides.
That retake utility coming in, but B-Stick is here quite fast. The flash is over the top. Not super effective, but it's enough panic. And very well caught by Sinners to just catch them on that rotational, like, protocol-based nadage. You don't really save in the overtime, but this feels like one of those situations where you might want to do it. There's still a fair amount of utility remaining for the Sinners as well.
Exactly. I think you just keep hold of what you got here. As much as, like you said, you don't need to save. It's just one of those where I just feel like there's nothing really to gain. I mean, Alpha will go down. Belchonok's spam is very good on that corner. It still looks like he's giving us a go, but surely time is of the essence. Belchonok, he's a bit of a man possessed right now. He just isn't missing. Down he goes in the end, but, you know, that was always feeling like it was going to be the case in any sense, but Sinners map and series a point for them. They've had to work for it. That goes without saying, but it has been a really uncomfortable game from both sides. I mean, Sinners, for me, I think they've just taken their foot off the gas. PARIVISION have just never really been on it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summary. A very fair summary indeed. We'll see if Sinners can close things out here. It has ended up being kind of an extended map, though, for sure. At one point, I think we were like 10-8.
Yeah.
And it really felt like Sinners should have been able to take it off the back of that. They just won a rifle round. Reinvestment from Sinners, and then some overfaces, some over-aggression. Ends up costing them a couple in a row that, you know, obviously turned the tide of the battle here.
PARIVISION's still not dead, though. They, of course, will put it in towards overtime themselves, or people got other ideas. I expect to open things up. Great frag to find in just the early portion here, and we don't have to commit to this. Get a kill, fall back, and play as this pack.
Keep it simple. Keep it very simple indeed, and they might just come away with those just desserts. Smoke is in kind of early, but Kicker scaring them off. I think maybe starting to understand that it's only the one player. Still not, fully bailing on the idea of A, though. Sinners with a big turnaround here as they move towards the A bomb site. They have been spotted out early. Alpha with a really big find and can obviously continue defending this site, so it looks good. They'd also got a player really deep in B there, if you see on your minimap.
Yep.
And that results in the 3 versus 2 in favor of PARIVISION. Alpha just about stays alive, lucky to do so. Finds another head, and now it's all down to Zedko to clutch this one out. 15 seconds. He finds the first. Where is this second player? Fakes it out. Kicker committing to the walkthrough. He's not spotted him, and the headshot lands. Zedko, thank goodness for 4x3 or whatever kind of god looked down upon him there as he wins out the 1v2.
Oh, that was looking dicey, wasn't it? That was very much looking dicey, especially when he tucks back to go for that second attempt at the plant. But a win is a win. Sinners, they were made to work for it. That is for sure. But all that matters. A 2-0 here over what is on paper quite a scary PARIVISION side, but in the survey, it was actually quite lackluster. I think that is the ultimate way of putting it. This is a side that, at least in terms of name value to what we saw there on, I mean, both maps, but obviously in particular map number 1, it was quite underwhelming. And I think this is where PARIVISION definitely have to go back to the drawing board. I'm not sold at the moment on this style of play just yet.
No, me neither. I think certainly a few things to work out, a few kinks. Again, individuals also a bit inconsistent. That first map in particular did not look good from them in that sense at all. Not a single positive player. So, you know, there's a lot to be desired, but it's still very, very early. And we do have to question where some of these, you know, CIS teams are. What does their practice look like?
Yep.
What does the sort of directive of the team, some of the players, etc., etc. We don't rightly know, but the pieces are here. I think we know that much for sure. There's also sort of something going on. You know, obviously Travis has not played today. He was like marked down to be subbed out against Monty in their first BO3 outing, but then he actually played. So I don't rightly know what's going on with Travis in the team and everything, right? It is a little bit strange, and that could certainly be affecting practice and fitting everything in, because he is a very, very pivotal player, I would say, the way that he approaches the game.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think as well, you can see that if, you know, Travis is meant to be in the squad and he can't play for whatever reason, it's evident that they obviously needed him as a bit of a sort of a gel factor, right? He was super required, not just in terms of, I mean, obviously he's a player who can put up really good numbers, but it felt like such a discombobulated PARIVISION roster. And, you know, you even look at it, so I'm right to say it's Alpha standing in, right? If that's correct.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's now a team which is technically a team of 3 IGLs, right? You know, if I'm right in saying Alpha has called previously in quite a few teams. Obviously, Kick is now calling, and we know Jay has been an IGL for many years. So it's not exactly the best team composition ever.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird one. It is a bit of a weird one at the moment, and I think, as we say, they're very much ready and raring to sort of prove themselves, but there's a lot of things that need to be worked out. And is there mid-rounding going on? Has it been firmly worked out? You know, it leaves a lot of question marks, but this obviously, because of Jame, is a team that's just caught a lot of attention within the avid tier 2 watchers. Sinners, meanwhile, yes, they've made changes, but they feel a bit more fluid. Zedko obviously back in the team, so he has played with these guys before. And then Peepo, you'd imagine maybe has practiced with them and whatnot because of the academy system. And he actually looked really, really good for me this evening. So I think that the Sinners team, as always, a stalwart of tier 2, I think they will be looking to work on remaining there. And actually the newer system might work a bit better for them, because they always seem to float around that kind of top 30, top 40 sort of mark, which I think is going to get you a few invites here and there. Maybe not to direct events, but, you know, you might get the odd qualifier. And then when you're having a good few months, you may well get a more direct invitation.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, that is us done for this series. A 2-0 in favor of Sinners. It's been an absolute pleasure to be back on ECL. It's been a while since we've been here, but we always enjoy our time. Of course, we've got more Counter-Strike, though, for today. The South America coming up soon, and then North America to follow that. So if you're just a lover of Counter-Strike or a lover of ECL, stick around. We're going to be here with some more CS. But for now, for myself and Scriv, thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Think you've seen it all? With FACEIT Watch's Point of View Selector, you can experience the game from any pro's perspective. Use the multi-view feature and customize the stream with up to 4 angles. Control what points you see while earning rewards. Drops are activated and lucky winners will receive FACEIT points. And if you ever miss a match, VODs are now available. Get instant access to demos with multiple POVs and commentary. Watch it, control it, FACEIT.
think that's so overrated. Yeah, if you make one, you will fall. Too much of a temptation. Yeah, there's a comfort in the crawl. Now I've been on my feet too long. I know I'm strong, just looking for some solid ground, so I can start to run. I don't wanna be tired, moving so bad, right. I don't wanna be tired, feels like it's my time. I don't need your light. Don't you waste your time. Don't you waste your time. Don't you waste your
Yeah. La 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 la. Yeah. Your life hits hard, but I hit right back. I never back down. I keep it on track. It's the same day with no problems. I keep rising from the bottom. Cause when the sun comes up and I look around, I can feel that love, I can hear that sound. They're never gonna hold me down. I'm higher than the ceiling now, and then I need to worry about, cause I got no problems. I know it's gonna be alright. It's getting better every time. Nobody's gonna kill my vibe, cause I got no problems. Yes, every day was a war. Yeah, it kinda took a while. When they tell me I should stay, I just jump with a smile. Yeah, it's hard until you notice. Everybody's got their moment. When the sun